Hi, Eight of Cups family. Welcome to your May readings. A quick reminder, guys, that this intro will be in the beginning of each and every video. If you're not interested in watching it over and over again, I do provide timestamps within the description box and the first comment of each reading. So if you've listened to this before, you can kind of skip past it and move on to your cards for that sign. The intro is a little bit about the astrology of the month, and it's really charged in May. That's kind of the word that I want to use, is charged. I think we're all really charged up. We're all ready for this change. Now, I've said it in a few of my videos. I don't mean to repeat myself, but it is true. We're in a 5-year and May is a 5-month. So there's a promise right there that there will be changes occurring. As well, with this new moon that moves into Taurus around May 11th, there's a significant shift because we move officially into eclipse season. Guys, I know most of us are seeing the signs. We're seeing the things. We're seeing the changes. We're seeing that things don't fit us anymore, or things that do seem to fit us better. And then there's like that whole hesitation thing. And the month of May actually does hold a lot of consequences. The decisions that you make now, the things that you choose, where you are kind of pushed, and how you react all play a really large role in your future self. So it's kind of important to take these transits pretty seriously. Now, we also have a lot of shifts in energy this month. We're moving from, the wonderful Venus placement in Taurus, where we got, I feel like, a few weeks to kind of enjoy our surroundings, enjoy the things that we have. We got to tap into a more sensual side. I think some of us were probably maybe like, I call it romanticizing our homes, enjoying our family a little bit, maybe getting into new routines, embracing the new weather, and making plans for the future, because Taurus season really is all about the making of the plans. How do we want the future to look? It also played a big emphasis on our values, of course. Things are playing out around us, and it's making us question, do we still believe in the things we believe in? Do we still want the things that we wanted? And as everything starts to make this transition into Gemini, first Mercury and then Venus, and then the Sun will all follow into a conglomeration of planets that are joining this North Node. It's pretty important to understand that May will be pretty revealing. It'll be revealing as to where we're going and what fits us. And there's a need to embrace the new, which means there's a need for the courage to let some things go. South Node, Sag. We're in eclipse season, guys. These nodes are super important. It's really important to know where they're falling in your chart, what areas of your life are being heavily affected by them. And probably the biggest news of the month is, and albeit a month full of eclipses, is the taste of Jupiter moving into Pisces. This is much different than Jupiter's energy in Aquarius. Jupiter tends to expand the energy. It makes it bigger, stronger. Jupiter moving into Pisces is going to have a very different feel. And what happens is Jupiter slips into Pisces just long enough for it to make a square over to that Mercury and Venus. And it starts to tell a story about what 2022 is going to be about. So you want to be really vigilant around the middle of the month. Start looking at the way that things are unfolding. There's a lot of emphasis of this Gemini placement. Now, about a year ago, we had Venus in Gemini go through a pretty serious retrograde period last May and June. We've been here before. We've been looking at these stories for a while, okay? This is not about like the new shocking things popping up. They will, of course. We have Uranus making a square to Saturn, but the ultimate issues are clear to you. You know, and I think a lot of it has to do with our ability to embrace the change, our ability to get curious, to start paying attention to our surroundings. Gemini does have a lot to do with our environments. Gemini rules the third house, and it's all about that creativity. And when you think of creativity and you pair it up with the intellectual, the intelligence of Gemini, you can make a lot of really wonderful things happen. Now, I always say, when I look at the fifth house really truly belongs to like creativity and joy, but it also can make you lazy. Jupiter in Pisces can also make you a little lazy. But all that third house energy gives you the new ideas, the new things that we're creating, the new directions that we're going in. And it's about exploring them. It's about opening up to the curiosity. It's about communicating, of course, having those conversations, expressing ourselves. And guys, as Saturn begins to move into this formation of the second square with Uranus, it's really important to stay true to ourselves and our authenticity. Saturn in Aquarius is going to make you separate yourself from like the group think. And that's super important right now, because part of what needs to change has been over the years of us kind of doing what society, what other people, what other structures in our life expected from us. And now the 2020 happened, 2021 rolls in, and we're like, well, why are we even doing it like this in the first place? You know, one of my favorite examples of this is kind of what happened when we all started to work from home. Like, there was almost a death of the 9 to 5. Of course, it's got its downfalls and it has its bonuses. We could work whenever we want, but we could also maybe always be working. We have to invite the new in, and we have to tweak it. And what this retrograde season is all about is the tweaking. Now, we have Mercury that's going to sit in Gemini for an extremely long amount of time. It's even retrograde longer than it typically is. So you can kind of look at this time, and it won't actually be retrograde until the very end of May. Mercury enters its shadow zone around May 15th. Close to the same time as a new moon in Taurus. We're starting to get things rolling. We're entering our shadow phase. And I just want to tell everybody it's okay to make the changes. It's okay to proceed, because Mercury is going to give you a chance to perfect it, to make the adjustments. It's not like about the big commitments. It's about just trying it. It's about being brave enough to just explore the possibilities. Now, we already had Pluto go retrograde, so there's definitely internal work as far as our power dynamics. Where do we give our power away? This is a time in which we take it back. In other words, if there are people in your life that manipulate you or tend to make you feel like you have to stay in this box, we're definitely in the process of growing out of the box. And Saturn is also going to station retrograde, and when Saturn stations retrograde, it does become a lot about the karmic cycles. There's things that are ending. There's old storylines in our lives that just simply don't fit us anymore. Those bad relationships, the unfulfilling jobs, the friendships just out of, social niceties. And those things are going to get phased out, and we have to be brave enough to embrace that. And by that, I mean it's going to take a lot of self-love. Moving into Cancer season soon. It's right around the corner. And the next several months, like I said, are an extremely karmic period. The summer is an extremely karmic period. It's about the movement. It's about the processes, and it's about getting things started, guys. So really important to kind of tap in to the things that you truly want, okay? It's also really important to break out of habits of stagnation and what's keeping you small. So again, those relationships, those jobs, whatever it is where you feel like you have to kind of dim your light or you can't express yourself. And we're seeing this all the time on social media, right? Like, It's no lie that with Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, we're going to start to see the consequences of what happens when you deny our freedom of speech in a way, okay? There's consequences involved. Where are you denying yourself from speaking up, from standing up for yourself when you see that something's not right or something doesn't make sense or it's not in your authenticity or integrity? I think the next couple of months is like this opportunity to be like, you know what, this is just not for me. And it's not about you and it's not about us. And we're not going to take these things personally. We're just going to proceed in another area where it's more welcoming, where we could have a stronger purpose. All of this is because of our drive for the purpose. Our world is changing. Everything around us is changing. Our priorities, our structures are changing. And so we have to start to realize what really matters to us and what are the things that we can release. You know, if you're miserable in a job, it may be the time in which, regardless of financial status or burdens, it may be time to take the risk. Relationships as well. If you're staying in relationships as a means of security or as a way to not be alone, you could probably expect those ideas to kind of dissolve right in front of you. And when we have Jupiter moving into Pisces, it is really all about the surrendering. It is really all about the dissolving. And in order to fully embrace it, you have to have faith. You have to have faith in the universe that we're all moving in the direction that is right for us. And it doesn't mean that other people are wrong. It just means that this is what's right for you. And of course, when we take that kind of attitude on, there's a lot of people in our lives that can resist this because they need us to be this certain way. And so this is where the friction of the Saturn-Uranus square comes in. And it's about, like, what are you accountable for and who are you accountable to and what really matters. So a lot of self-inspection, reflection that's been going on over the past several months, that kind of comes to the surface now. It starts to like really take place in the material realm. There is no doubt that people will start to make the big moves, make the job change, move environments, change your houses, change your states that you're living in, change your political associations. It's all about the changing to reflect who we are now. And if it doesn't come from an authentic place of integrity, you can expect a lot more bumps in the road. But if you're going towards something that is reflective of your greater purpose and your destiny, you will find it to be the path of least resistance. So pay attention, guys. I hope you enjoy your cards, and I do hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful month, and I'll be back soon. Take care, guys. Bye. Hello, Sag. Welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot, and welcome to your cards for May/June. Guys, this is definitely like the next 30 days. Sorry about the reading being a little bit late, but let's get into these cards because there's a pretty big story here. Sag, you're coming out as a King of Wands. Now, I do have to say there's an awful lot of fire in this reading. King of Wands is a card of determination and a card of courage. It is a card of Aries, and I'm definitely picking up this theme in this particular card, in this particular reading, of self-protection. I'm looking at the way that his arms are crossed, kind of protecting this kind of lion inside of him, which I think is like this roar, this defense mechanism that you have, which tells me that the passion behind all of the feelings is very fiery. It could be very defensive, and it could be very egoic. Now, I don't say that like in terms of being negative. I feel like this is a merging of those two energies and how to make the best of it. Now, your environment is that of the Empress, and I'm looking here. She's just so beautiful. She's holding this child. She's in full, like, abundance. It tells me that your environment is very abundant. There's probably a lot to be grateful for. And yet here you are with your arms closed. Like you are not in the receiving mode, which means you're kind of maybe closing yourself off to the gifts that the universe ultimately wants to deliver to you, the things that are being placed in your environment. Now, underneath this King of Wands, we have this new moon in Aries. It's time to take action. Now, we literally had a new moon in Aries last month. So quite literally, some of you could probably tie this back to last month. Maybe there was some seeds you planted. Maybe there was some opportunities in which you didn't really take action. Now, worry not. Sag, we have a lot of energy coming up in the 7th house, and we have a lot of planets going retrograde. First, we had Pluto go retrograde in your 2nd house. Now, this month, we have Saturn going retrograde in your 3rd house. And we have Mercury doing a very extensive and very intense retrograde period in your 7th house of partnerships. And I can't help but wonder if maybe there was some things in your partnerships, maybe some relationships, doesn't have to be romantic, it could be business partnerships, bosses, friendships, family members. But there was opportunities within these significant relationships, and it looks like you chose a more defensive tone to things. Now I'm tapping into this energy because just underneath the Empress, we have this card here, Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. And I see like this gathering of all of these people. And all of these people, whether they're like your friends, your family, your spirit guides, your guardian angels, however you want to look at it, like your higher self, your intuition, there's like all these people that are helping you. There's divine orchestration, comes out right underneath the Empress, which tells me that you're in the environment of being given some pretty profound gifts, maybe by other relationships, maybe by situations, whatever it is, there's opportunities that are abound to you. They've been given to you by the divine, meaning you planted the seed and the universe went to work and they started placing these things in your path. So here we have the defensiveness of the King of Wands, like I said. Now, I don't always pick up that energy, but when I'm looking at him right now with those arms crossed, I feel like he is kind of blocking or maybe just not acknowledging how fertile this environment is. So here we have the 7 of Wands, the Strength card, and the Lovers, right? Mercury, Venus, the Sun, all moving into your 7th house. Big emphasis on your relationships. Now here's a vibe that I'm kind of picking up here with this. We've got this 7 of Wands, we've got this 3 of Wands, and we've got this 5 of Pentacles. So this is kind of like overcoming the obstacles, right? The Seven of Wands, always indicative of delays and obstacles, yet it is nothing that you, especially coming out as a King of Wands, can't get through. If there's something that you are physically capable of doing, it can be done. But we're a little surrendered here with this Three of Wands because we're in an environment of waiting, and it feels like maybe you've been kind of plowing through these obstacles for quite some time. And sometimes what happens, Sag, is we just kind of get used to this, like just the keep on keeping on, right? Maybe for some of you, things haven't been easy. Maybe the relationships haven't been easy. Maybe they've been very fiery, very intense. And then you get to this point, Three of Wands, where you're like, man, I can't even remember when things were good. I don't remember when things felt easy. And these cards here kind of irk me. Not that you're doing anything wrong. But what I pick up is when you're in this, like, just taking care of one obstacle after another, or like maybe one fight after another, things get pretty exhausting. And you begin to slip into this place where it's very easy to forget how very grateful you are. And there's a lot to be grateful for, which is why getting lost in this Three of Wands and the feeling like you'll never get the things that you truly want and desire, deeply rooted in abandonment issues, Five of Pentacles. And really the truth of the matter is, Sag, you feel like you have to do all of this work in order to get to the things that you truly want and desire, when the universe is saying to you, it doesn't take work at all. The things that you want, the things that you're dreaming of, everything that you want will come very easy to you. So if you're feeling like you are fighting and waiting and struggling for these things to happen, it's simply because you're on the wrong path. The environment is handing you wins, and yet there's some part of your ego that says, yeah, but I want that one thing I can't have. Why? Because it's an attempt to heal this Five of Pentacles. And to me, this always feels like struggling to find a place to belong. And maybe, Sag, there's something or someone in your life that you just keep trying to feel like you belong there. That is your home, that is your place. And the universe is reminding you that what's truly meant for you probably wouldn't be so hard. Here we have this King of Wands, here we have this Strength card, very similar energies in that of a Scorpio reading, so maybe some of you are dealing with a Scorpio. But when I see the Strength card, I know that there is something within us that we are taming, right? Like the way that she kind of tames this lion. And I think there's a little bit of a taming of the ego here, this Strength right on top of this Knight of Wands card. And then because this Knight of Wands card is right here in the middle, like the Knight of Wands is the conqueror, right? And this does indicate to me that whether you like it or not, whether you do the right things or not, whether you listen to my advice or not, there will be growth. Because you're going from the Knight of Wands to the King of Wands. But ironically, it's not going to be the way that you think it's going to be. Now let me explain. We have this Strength card. We have this Knight of Wands, which is like this intense determination within us that's getting tamed, right? This is a part of us that says, yeah, but I really want to make this mine. Like, I deserve this. I've worked on this for a long time. I've poured myself into it. The Knight of Wands can kind of have like a funny set of priorities, right? Like the things that he's going after probably aren't good for the long term anyways, because you see the way that he has his back turned to this Three of Pentacles in reverse. I don't know if maybe some of you are finding like comfort in the waiting. Like it's been so long, you don't know how to step out of this and start receiving and start building. The Knight of Wands can be very unforgiving. You know, not so great with the compassion, right? The Knight of Wands is always like the worst thing that you can do with the Knight of Wands is hurt his ego, to reject him, to tell the Knight of Wands that he is not wanted. And there might be something happening this month triggering these feelings within you, right? Like we just had all of this Chiron activation. Now we have all of this energy moving into Taurus and Gemini. A lot of us have Chiron there kind of being illuminated this month. Mars and Cancer in your 8th house, which will definitely highlight the power struggles and the power dynamics in your life, the things that you truly want, but you want them because you can't have them. You don't want them because they feel right. Now, maybe this is someone else. Maybe this Knight of Wands is somebody who's kind of in and out of your life, right? Like we've all been there with the Knight of Wands. We've all had that one person that kind of comes in like a tornado, turns our heart upside down, and then leaves again. And we wait. We wait because chances are he will return. And chances are Mercury retrograde, very intense in your 7th house, he will return. These things, this person, this pattern that you have of going after and desiring the things you cannot have, you can expect this to be the highlight of the month because the universe has to clear this out. For some of you, it's just the idea of a partnership. The idea of having somebody or something. This could begin to take precedence in your life, and you could be determined that you're going to kind of find the one, you know? For some of you, you're like on all the dating profiles, doing all the dating, talking to a whole bunch of people, like super determined, and you almost turn it into like something that needs to be conquered instead of something that needs to be experienced and enjoyed. And I'm not sure if some of you realize that all of this is really coming from a desire to not look or heal kind of these more foundational wounds that we have. Then we have the Strength next to the Lovers. And the Lovers card is kind of like the ultimate, it's the oasis, right? It's look, it's the creation. It's the coming together, the merging. Now again, my attention brought to Gemini. This is a card of Gemini where you will have the Sun and Venus and Mercury retrograde in your opposing sign. Also the eclipses, 1st, 7th house. And there's definitely some real epiphanies that are going to come to you this month about how you handle that whole relationship scenario in your life and what it means to you. Now, we're all going through major changes. We're all changing our perspective. We're all learning some really hard lessons. Saturn retrograde in your 3rd house, and I'm looking at all of this, and it's like there's so much creativity. Meaning your mind is so fertile that you know exactly what you want. You know how you want to feel in relationships. You know that somewhere your heart belongs to something. But then here's all this like surface level frustration. And because it's not happening, you could find yourself becoming like really 5 of Pentacles mode. Feeling like you don't belong, feeling very alone, feeling isolated. And this is kind of this month's tough lessons. Now, is there change? Absolutely. Will it be easy? That's up to you. Knight of Wands can be very fixed, fiery energy. And you could spend most of the month really determined to achieve that one thing that you want to achieve, to get that one person that you want, to make it work, to make it fit, to make them stay. And because we have this King of Cups underneath this Knight of Wands, there could even be a little bit of emotional manipulation, okay? And that's probably from both sides. Because the truth is, Saturn square Uranus, we're all in a search for freedom. Our souls are longing for freedom. Now, for some of us, freedom means a healthy relationship. It means having somebody to love us unconditionally. For some of us, freedom is not having relationships. And sometimes we just don't meet eye to eye because one person is really longing to go down a different path. And it's very easy for our egos here to be like, yeah, no, but I want this. This is meant to be. But the reality of it is none of these cards here look very inviting, right? Like the environment is not very abundant, which tells me that you're probably coming from a place where you're not able to really tap into the more grateful side of life. Like if you're always trying to make a relationship work that's never meant to work, then you're going to keep yourself in an environment of lack. You're going to keep yourself in environments where you tend to lean towards negative thoughts, negative vibrations, always feeling rejected, unloved. And you don't realize how much that kind of pours into the rest of your life. You know, I've said it a few times, I think, in these readings. It came up a little bit last month, too. Like when you're in bad relationships, when you're in bad job situations, they always kind of bleed out into all the other areas of your life. Like you bring the job stress home to your partner or your children or your home environment, or you're working too much, you can't take care of your home, or, you know, you don't have enough time to like devote to the other stuff. Like it's all symptoms. And we find ourselves stuck in all of the symptoms. And I think the truth of the matter is this Knight of Wands here, whether this is you or somebody else, this Knight of Wands is moving far, far away from this 3 of Pentacles, and therefore he's refusing to build. Which means he doesn't want to participate in this whole idea that you've created. And this is where the universe can kind of get funny. Because we all just have like these dreams, right? We all like idealize these things. Oh, well, when I find the love of my life, it's going to look exactly like this. And we're going to date for 2 years. And then we're going to get married. We're going to have 2.5 children and have, you know, and you just have like this whole idea in your mind, how it's all supposed to go. And then you fall in love with the person who doesn't even understand that idea. Because the Knight of Wands is very selfish, and it's really not about anybody else but him and what he wants in that moment, because he's very impulsive. That's why Knight of Wands have a way of showing up, making you feel like you are the best, most loved human, and then they slip away just as quickly. And the thing that the universe is trying to explain to you is that when people want to go, you have to let them go. You have to do the detachment. You have to allow it. You have to allow people to go down their paths, because what's truly meant for you, and I swear to God, the thing that's truly meant for you will never Knight of Wands you. It won't happen. And the reason why we allow these things to happen is because we get stuck here in the, yeah, but this is comfortable, and I know I love him, and I know, or her, you know, it's just all examples, guys. And we let these relationships really drain us. They drain us of our self-worth. They might even drain us financially. And this is you. This is you overcoming this Knight of Wands. We've got the Strength Cup and the King of Cups. There's a taming of the ego. So yes, there's going to be a little bit of an ego death. There's probably going to be one or two more stings from this Knight of Wands, one or two more pieces of evidence that this is not the path that you're supposed to go down. And this door is just going to keep closing, because this is not the foundation you are meant to build. And the truth of the matter is, Sag, your heart is too big for this Knight of Wands. You deserve much more than this Knight of Wands. And the truth is, Saturn going retrograde, everybody's going to have a little bit of karma. Wheel of Fortune. Sometimes when you pull back, when you stop wanting the things that you want, when you start loving yourself, King of Cups, when you realize your worth, when you realize how important your emotional stability is, the whole scenario can change. But before it changes, you have to heal that part of you that puts up with the behavior in the first place. If you want this relationship to work, if you want this Knight of Wands to grow into a King of Wands, you're going to have to let the universe, because they're helping, they're assisting. There's divine timing here. There's divine timing in this card. Divine timing with the Wheel of Fortune. It's important that you go on and you learn your lessons, and you allow this person to kind of get smacked with their own reality and their own lessons. Now, maybe some of them, once they realize like this gets cut off, once they realize, because the thing, like once you heal this Five of Pentacles within yourself, this is a fear of abandonment. When you stop holding on to things, waiting forever for people to change, when you just start to move on and love yourself and appreciate your life regardless of who is there and when, things can turn around rather quickly. For some of you, this person can change. They can grow up because you've put your foot down. Do not underestimate the power of the karmic lessons you are meant to play in other people's lives. Divine orchestration. The truth is, sometimes we enable people and we make things take a lot longer than they should have ever taken. And the root of that problem is that we didn't think we were worth it in the first place. If we put our foot down, they would leave and we would be alone. Well, you're alone anyways. So what's your self-worth, Sag? What is it worth to you? Because right now, it is you that has to be the priority. And when you change your mindset, Wheel of Fortune, bottom of the deck, Wheel of Fortune, 7 of Cups. When you change your mindset, you change your life. When you begin to love yourself, the universe starts to deliver people that will love you just the way that you love yourself. So if there's any elements of self-esteem or insecurities seeking low below the surface, eclipse season's going to bring them up. Saturn retrograde, 3rd house, going to bring them up. You're going to uproot all this. You're going to look at it. You're going to see the role that these things play in your life. And when you do that, you're going to see the blessings. Because this 3 of Pentacles in reverse is the blessing. Because it means there was no foundation in the first place. The universe is not going to let you build a house on a foundation that isn't solid. And the thing that you need to build a solid foundation is the equal give and take. 6 of Pentacles, King of Cups. King of Cups, the truth is you are of no match to this Knight of Wands. Now, if this Knight of Wands runs off, licks his wounds, heals, gets some therapy, clears up all these issues, comes back as a Knight of Wands, boom, even. 2 Kings, even give and take. This King of Cups has no business settling for Knight of Wands stuff. His heart is too pure. His devotion, his loyalty, and his love too unconditional. The universe will never, ever let this work. You can keep trying. You could waste your time. You could fight this all the way up to the rest of the eclipses. You could fight this all the way up until December. It's not going to make it past December. Knight of Wands has to grow up, or someone new will come. And it's not about the person that comes in. It's about the mindset of where you are when you attract them. Wheel of Fortune, your relationships are changing. They're growing. They're becoming much more fertile, much more giving, much more abundant. So it's going to be harder and harder for you to settle for a Knight of Wands when you know that you're deserving of this King of Cups. But you have to take the action. New moon in Aries. It's your 5th house. House of romance, house of fun, house of joy. I cannot preach to you enough how important it is in your environment to focus on the happy, to focus on the gratitude. The King of Cups is so capable of the gratitude that manifests the abundance. Okay, so you don't have a partner. Maybe you have friends, maybe you have family, maybe you have pets, maybe, you have something. And instead of sulking in the things that you don't have, if you could turn your attention into how very beautiful life is, how lucky you are to just have the little things, right? I can tell you that when I went through a divorce, for a long time, there was a lot of this 5 of Pentacles stuff. And it's hard not to go here. This is natural. This is human. This is all the reasons why things didn't work. King of Cups is such a beautiful place. That's where I was just so overwhelmed and grateful for the family that I did have, for the support that I received, for tucking my children in bed all the nights, and really just loving how the universe fell into place when I put myself first. When I found my strength and my courage and my emotional truth, because a lot of this King of Cups energy, this is like your sovereignty. It's not about lowering standards anymore. People have to come and meet you. You are not here. You are not here in this Five of Pentacles. You are here. And what you have to give is important. It's of value. And there's a lot of good that you can do, and there's probably a lot of good that you do for the world anyways. And so you can expect the universe to want to give you back what you truly deserve. If you could just detach from the things that are below you and start to connect to the abundance the universe is trying to give you. Here we have card number 27, Heart, Home, Compassion. This is everything I talked about with this King of Cups. This is about the gratitude. Now, reminder, it is a card number 9. We have a card number 9 here and a card number 10. You're closing out cycles. Things are changing, and they will never, ever, ever be the same, because you have learned things about yourself, about your self-worth. I want to read this card to you really quick. These are coming out really powerful for me today. Heart, Home, love in its truest form, compassion. When you begin to feel like you do not belong anywhere, it's time to make your way back to your heart home. This is your true home. You're being called back to the quiet place where your soul resides. Put everything on hold for a short while. You are being offered the experience of love in its purest form, unconditional and unbounded. This is not the love you must work hard to earn or barter for. Drop into your heart space and rest there for a breath or two. Replace the judgment of yourself and others with compassion. Really, it is that easy when Heart Home shows up. There is no need to forgive anyone for anything. None of it occurred in spiritual truth. It is only your belief in that story that makes it so powerful. Allow your love to wash clean all those impressions. Empty yourself of all judgment and preconceptions, and allow Spirit to fill you with the sweet nectar of peace. When Heart Home shows up, it is imperative that you heed its call, lest the universe orchestrate a way to bring you back to yourself that is of harsher nature. Yeah, for sure. And the last card you guys got, one of my very favorite cards, which makes so much sense here, is the Here and Now, card number 32, which symbolizes that you are in the in-between. Now, you may be making a choice. There's a choice here between going back to something old, going back to this Knight of Wands, this person that kind of symbolizes the past you. There's a future in front of you, and the future is kind of more like the King of Cups. Somebody loves and values you, someone that invests and builds the foundations with you. And here you are in the middle. And this is so indicative of this Wheel of Fortune, because here you are in the middle. You know things are changing. You know everything about everything is changing. You have the choice. Are you going to go back down? Are you going to do that thing all over again and delay the universe handing you something really remarkable? Because in order to get to the future, you have to find peace in the here and now. in the moment. When you get here, sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's a little bit confusing. Sometimes you want to get out of the middle so bad that you jump into the very first shiny thing you see. And that is a cycle of repeating the past behavior. And that's how you keep yourself stuck. So instead, Sag, it's really important that you're able to stay here and now, to give this some time, to focus on your environment and the things that you have to be grateful for, and having faith that the universe is going to do the turnover. And they will. You're meant for it. It's your destiny. This beautiful love story is meant for you and you alone. But you have to allow the universe to put the pieces together without forcing it, without forcing other people and other things. But I promise you, you're taken care of. I promise you, you have everything you need. I promise you that your environment is everything you need right now, even if you're the only one there. Absolutely beautiful reading, Sag. Absolutely. I wish you guys so much love this month. I will be back again in some form to talk about these eclipses that are coming, guys. We're already in eclipse season. Definitely the next couple of months, you can expect the unexpected collectively as well. It's going to get a little crazy, but it's going to shake us up so we know who we are and where we're going. Beautiful, beautiful energy, Sag. All right, guys, I wish you lots of love. Take care, and I'll see you again in June. Bye.